Sinopec, also known as China Petroleum and Chemical Company, is one of the largest companies in the world, and this is one of its many chemical plants. But instead of constantly spitting out hazardous material, the boilers here are doing a good job of cutting the pollution. The corporations integrated this technology with the help of a local green enterprise firm, CHENG. Yang CHENG is the man behind the invention. It's a complicated maze of pipes and tanks to purify emissions, condense steam into high-temperature water, then recycle the water back into the heating system. It took about 3 months to set up the first system a few years ago. But now, after several rounds of development, all it takes is 1 month to completely install an entire complex. That's great progress for a young company just 5 years old. China is the world's second largest investor of renewable energy, which means Mr. Yang has benefited tremendously from the funding that has turned his dream into reality.
Once a country hits a certain GDP level, they must deal with the environmental problems. And if you have looked, China's really started supporting energy-efficient projects in the last couple of years, both politically and also financially. There's been real support.
The country's faced embarrassing environmental disasters, a result of its breakneck development over the last 2 decades. But over the next 2 decades, the government hopes to build a successful green economy. And they plan to achieve this by providing a lot of the funding themselves. Out west, China is already capturing the power of wind. And soon the clogged cities might see hybrid vehicles like this one, developed by Chinese for Chinese, good for both the environment and for business. That's the message from the country's Ministry of Environmental Protection.
We recognize the more cars you have on the road, the worse the pollution will be. But we cannot freeze development. People should have cars. They shouldn't go back to the old days of the bicycles. It's simply not realistic. So to tackle the environmental problem, we need to set up some measures. We need to benefit both the environment and the people.
But don't expect changes overnight. Rampant corruption at the local level means we'll continue hearing about contaminated water and toxic spills. There's only so much even the central government can do when it comes to enforcement. But China is a country with plenty of ambition, and the thinking is if it can apply the same effort to creating an environmentally sustainable future, then scenes like this will eventually brighten up to look like this. Melissa Chan, Al Jazeera, Beijing.